Thanks again to MD West 1, now Class B, which another oddity of the 5-day tournament. They have two opening round games on Tuesday and two on Wednesday. A move which I believe was made to accommodate Scotts Bluff. They're playing the Wednesday game at 11:15 and coming all the way from Western Nebraska.
Right. And they wanted to get 6 games at Pinnacle Bank Arena on that first day, Jake. So they had 4 Class A's, so they had time for 2 Class B's. Like you said, it'll be interesting because two of those teams going on to the semifinals will have an extra day in between, one starting on March 2nd, 2 games on March 2nd, 2 on March 3rd, those first rounders. So again, coaches don't really like to make a big deal out of it because they know if they do, then their players probably will. And they're just sort of everybody's going with the flow this season.
Yeah. Well, let's dive right into the bracket, starting with those Tuesday games and kicking off the tournament 9 a.m. at Pinnacle Bank. Number 1 seed Norris, 20-2. Number 8 seed Bennington, 14-10.
That number 1 ranking spot in Class B has been a real revolving door this season, Jake. And Norris is at number 1 right now. The way they played their district final, I think the Titans deserve that number 1 seed and their number 1 ranking. They'll be playing Bennington, which the Badgers did a nice job of just making the tournament. They were the only district Class B district team to win on the road. They won at Beatrice, so really tough. First rounder for the Badgers, 2 Eastern Midlands Conference teams there, but got to give the edge to Norris to move on to the semifinals.
And how's this for a 4-5 game? Omaha Skutt, 19-4, the 4 seed. The number 5 York, the Dukes, 20-3. That seems like a typical semifinal matchup that you see. 19-4, 20-3, top teams in the state.
Right. Yeah. Get those number 4s and 5s together, kind of like Class A, and I think it's going to be a really good game. Of course, the X factor with Skutt is the availability of their fine senior center, Lindsay Krause, who's been nursing a knee injury the last few weeks. And the last I had heard, her playing status is probably questionable for that first round game, but they wouldn't play again until Friday if they were able to beat York. That's kind of a big if, because that's going to be a tough game. But I think, the Skyhawks, 19-4, coached by Kip Colony. York, 20-3. They've had a really nice season, too. I think that game's really a toss-up. I gave a slight edge to Skutt. I didn't really know what Krause's status was going to be for sure. I think Skutt can win even without her. They've got other weapons. CeCe Behrens is a really fine scorer for them. So let's give a very slight edge to the Skyhawks. But, boy, the Dukes winning that first round game would be no surprise at all.
And, most people, if the 5 seed did win, they'd consider it the lower seed winning. This is another one, as you noted, with the 8 seed in Class A. Really, it came down to a tiebreaker with 4 and 5 because they're tied to the 4th decimal place, 44.0870, both these teams. So
it's hard to believe you can play a whole season, Jake, and there's so many factors that go into that wild card, and to see teams tied like that is really a rarity for sure, with Millard North and Papio in Class A, where it came down to which team was going to state and which one wasn't. At least these 2 teams, they're both at state. Like we said, can't get any closer than that when their wild card points are the same. So really good first round game coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's move to Wednesday then for Class B and the other side of the bracket. Another game to kick off the day at Pinnacle Bank, 9 a.m. And this one will bring the star power. Elkhorn North, the 2 seed, their first year as a program, not just first year in Class B, first year as a program, the 2 seed at state. Incredible accomplishment there. They'll play the 7 seed Omaha Gross, 17-6, North 18-2. And led by someone you've talked about a lot and had a nice feature of earlier this season, freshman Britt Prince.
Right. Nebraska's on her, Creighton's on her, Louisville's on her, other colleges are already on her. So she's really one of the top players in the state. I don't know what else to say about her. She's averaging 24 points, daughter of head coach Ann Prince. She can do it all. She can drive. She can hit from the outside. She's also a really good playmaker. So they have another fine scorer on their team, Riley Palmer. Other role players who know how to get those two players the ball and do their share of scoring too, Jake. So, like you said, props to Elkhorn North. Not many schools can get to state in their very first year program-wise. They don't have any seniors. So Elkhorn North is there, and I guess from a fan perspective, it's nice to see a player like Brett Prince get a chance to show what she can do on the really big stage. So they'll be playing the Cougars. Omaha Gross got to state by defeating Grand Island Northwest, who was Class B's runner-up last year. So props to the Cougars, but edge here has to go to Elkhorn North to win that first rounder and advance to the semifinals.
And that other game, the 3-6, as we mentioned, the 6-seed Scotts Bluff, 11:15 on Wednesday. They'll be playing the 3-seed Crete, 21-3. Scotts Bluff coming in 18-6. Good 3-6 matchup there.
Right. Crete, the defending champ. I thought they'd be down a little bit this year. Their fine All-Stater Morgan Malley graduated. So without her, I thought that Crete might take a step back, but that's what I get for underestimating their fine coach, John Larson, who recently set the state record for career girls basketball wins. He had another nice team this year. Crete's been ranked in our top 5 pretty much all season long. Scotts Bluff, again, carrying the torch for the outstate teams. They had a nice season too, and they had a tough game against Elkhorn in their district final, and they were able to win that one. So I think the Bearcats have shown that they belong at state, but boy, that's a tough first rounder for them. And I've got to give the edge to Crete to keep it going and perhaps move on to play Elkhorn North in that semifinal.
Okay, so not to put you out on a limb here, but 2 teams that you gave the edge to, Elkhorn North, Crete. Who would you pick there?
That's a tough one because Elkhorn North is just kind of don't know what to expect from first-year program and everything and the bright lights of state. I've got to give the slight edge there to Crete. Tournament tested, like I said, defending champions last year. Larson's a great coach. I had all those wonderful teams at Lincoln Southeast before moving on to Crete. So slight edge to Crete to slip past Elkhorn North if that's the way it turns out, Jake, and move on to the final.
What about the top of the bracket there with Norris? Who can give them? I mean, obviously, as we say, anything can happen once you get to Lincoln. But do you see anybody beating Norris?
Well, I see Norris advancing to that semifinal against, and boy, I don't know who's going to win that Scott York game. That's, like I said, a toss-up, and Krause's status kind of coming into question there. But I'd give Norris a very slight edge in that semifinal. But, that Class B is, like I said, been a revolving door this year. And York played Norris during the season. They got beat. And Scott played Norris too, and they got beat. But neither game was really a blowout, so they're both competitive. I could see either one of those teams giving Norris a tough time, but we'll stick with the Titans to win that semifinal and move on to the final.